How's it going, my dudes? Welcome back to another video. Today we'll be looking at Wanpan teams. Okay, so Wanpan is obviously derived from the word one punch from One Punch Man. Literally within like a few seconds, you defeat the boss. Okay, and then we'll be starring Murakumo in all of these because this is where he really shines. Okay, and people have been asking me, how do I use Murakumo? I don't see him being used anywhere. He is only in specific comps, so take a look at this. Right, so you're not going crazy. We did literally just down the boss in like just a couple of seconds. And this is only possible with Murakumo, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So as you can see right here, this is the standard cookie cutter layout for any Wanpan team. The only thing that really changes over here are two units. Okay, so if you take a look, this is one unit that should change, Elia. Okay, you can change her with any major DPS. Okay, so Elia is like the major light skill damage DPS, so that's where she comes in. And this slot over here, this is going to be very versatile. Okay, so this slot is going to be really versatile. In this comp over here, the reason why I'm using Elia and Shrumbo together is because Shrumbo, when he uses his skill, he'll actually walk towards the enemy boss, and therefore your Elia can actually drop her skill very effectively to achieve some really crazy numbers. Okay, but one thing you should take note is that if you run this team on practice or on solo mode or anything that is just by yourself and not in a co-op, it will fail. Okay, so take a look at this. This is what happens when you run it on solo. So basically, for some reason the AI just doesn't want to walk. Okay, I mean, for some reason the AI just doesn't want to clear your skill before using the next skill. So what you just noticed right there is, oh wow, we killed it super fast. What you notice right there is Shrumbo, the moment he cast, he didn't get a chance to walk, but we immediately walked forward. We immediately casted Elia's skill. Wow, this is the first time I actually did this. I mean, I did this before, but I didn't manage to do it on S plus ranking. Nice. So just take note that you're only doing this on co-op and not on single player. And let's start with Murakumo. Okay, he's the star of the show. Let's explain what he does. Okay, so his skill itself draws an ancient power, increasing attack and damage inflicted on downfall. So I think the attack buff that he has is something about 250%. And the extra damage that you inflict on downfalls, I'm not exactly very sure. I think it's about 50 or like 150 or something like that. It's big. Okay, so that's why you are able to see me do such a huge amount of damage in one shot. Okay, and then his leader skill, when battle starts, 50% to skill gauge of wind type units. Okay, so do take note that this is wind type units, and plus 50% attack buff as well to wind type units. When battle starts, for the first 30 seconds, you add 60% of attack to yourself, and you have a 600% chance to debuffs. Okay, whatever this thing is, what this is trying to say is you have a 6 times chance to down an enemy. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but that's what it actually does. And moving on to the owl, everyone knows what the owl does, okay, but the reason why the owl is in the main of slot 2 is because he's wind type. And because he's wind type, he gets the skill gauge boost from Murakumo, and therefore he gets a little bit of advancement. And Shirano over here, what she's useful for is to give yourself skill gauge. When she uses a skill, she will then boost the skill gauge of your leader. Okay, more importantly, the leader, but also your slot 3 as well. So that's 30% boost to Murakumo, and he has an initial 50% that puts him at 80%, right? And Suzu, she will not get the leader effect where she gains skill gauge, but it doesn't really matter because we have Shirano, right? So Shirano will actually push her from 80% over here to 110%, but basically just 100%. So she will get to move immediately after Shirano moves, and therefore she will then push the skill gauge of your leader by up to 30% at max. So all in all, your leader would instantly get 100% skill gauge. So just like that, instantly. Okay, so I will show you a few variations of how you can use this skeleton to create your own Wanpan team. So this is going to be the light SD, well, the light skill damage Wanpan team. And let's take a look at something else. Over here, I replaced Elia with Rams, and I replaced Shrumbo with Rinoa. This would then let Rinoa drop a paralysis debuff on the boss, right? Yeah, paralysis debuff, and then you will do more damage to paralyzed foes. So that's how you can manipulate these two slots. But as you can see, nothing else has changed. Not even the weapons, not even the weapon souls. So take note that all these weapon souls, this is like the best way to do this team, because of course the Regi X gives you extra attack during levitation, and Wind Murakumo is Wind, so therefore he will get the passive. He will get the passive of these weapons. And over here, well, Whitetail's X, I've talked about this a lot. Whenever a Thunder unit activates a skill, you gain an extra 40% skill damage. So there you go, that's what Suzu is here for. And this weapon over here is just a smaller version of the Regi X, it's the Regi Sword. And of course, this is not all. What I was told is that currently Heartleaf, she's not actually doing all these. So whatever that you're seeing here is actually not what she's capable of, or at least in the JP version right now, Heartleaf is not just a self buff, it's a party-wide buff. So your entire party does more damage to poison enemies, and therefore she would actually fit in the same theme of Wanpan. However, the lineup looks a little bit different here. As you can see, Sushi is now in the leader slot and Murakumo is just in the sub slots. Murakumo is just gonna benefit Sushi with the skill, attack buff, and his own passives and all that. But as you can see over here, Sushi himself, he gives skill gauge to himself as well, and he has a little bit more skill damage, which is very, very nice. And along with his own ability 3, he would then be able to go much closer to 100% on his own, and therefore you do not need the same lineup, which is this. So like I said, this is just one other variation that you can use in the future when Heartleaf is fixed. But then now you might be asking, right, what if I don't have Suzu, and what if I don't have Shirano? Because these two characters seem to be really, really key in this basic Wanpan template. That's a good question. Unfortunately, you won't be able to do the Wanpan, at least right now. I'm pretty sure in the future they will release other units that can perform the same kind of function. It doesn't always have to be Shirano, it doesn't always have to be Suzu, it can be someone else. But for now, unfortunately, if you lack these two units, you are pretty much unable to perform this role. But I do still have one alternative for you. So if you do not have Shirano and Suzu, you can always opt for this other lineup, which is going to be called the Wanpan support lineup. Okay, so in this lineup, you're not going to be doing damage. You're going to have Hanabi, who is going to have 100% skill gauge at max. As long as all three of your mains are fire type, they will be pushed up to 100% skill gauge at the start, and that's very important because with that, you will then be able to apply co-op wide buffs. Okay, so what I mean is, like, if you take a look at Regi over here, okay, so or rather Regitari, right? He would then buff the attack and thunder resistance of all parties, but mostly it's just the attack. I think it's like 50%, which is pretty big. So it's a 50% attack buff to your other Wanpan allies. And then Owl here, right? While he doesn't give levitation to other parties, he does provide skill, damage, and attack to the rest of the co-op teammates. And then you have Dia as well. And by the way, these are all free-to-play options because you can literally get them for free either in the boss shop or via the EX mode. And there you go, increasing the attack of all parties. So this is something that you can consider if you do not have Hanabi, right? Because Hanabi seems to be like the only gating factor over here. If you do not have her, I think that there is still another way. So this is another way that you can perform this function without Hanabi, which is using any unit that allows your team to have 100% skill gauge from the start, right? So let's say Yellow Blobble, completely free to play, okay? When this unit is a Thunder, he is always going to be a Thunder unit. I mean, if you put him as a lead, he's always going to be a Thunder unit. When battle starts, add 50% to your skill gauge. I mean, this goes up to 100% at max, okay? So this goes up to 100%. Same goes for Elk, and same goes for Jalil, who's also another 3-star. So it's pretty much free to play. I mean, I guess some 3-stars are really hard to get, right? Like Suzu and Shirano. But yeah, there you go. So the main objective of this comp is to have all 9 combo chains out at once. That means from the start, all skills have to go. You need to drop a 9 combo on the boss, which therefore downs the boss. And when the boss is downed, you actually do a lot more damage onto the boss, which is how you can incur like significant numbers on the boss. So technically, you just need 2 solid Wanpan teams and 1 Wanpan support. So that would be enough DPS to down pretty much any of the bosses at the current state of the game. So I hope this video cleared up a little bit of the questions that you may have with regards to Wanpanning and like what Wanpan is all about. This is exactly what Wanpan is. It's killing the boss really quickly just to clear your run super fast. And it's really fun to use, but it also does have quite a lot of basic requirements like having Murakumo collected from your Orochi runs, and having like all the Regi access collected from your Regitari runs, etc, etc, and you need to have like really strong characters and all that. That's all I have to say. I will show you the rest of the runs that I've done with my peers, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, it really helps the channel. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.